Okay, you're on.
All right, I'm going to call to order the meeting of the Tilton Budget Committee at 10 minutes after 6. And the first order of business are the meeting minutes. And again, I would like to issue a compliment to Johanna for the wonderful job she did with the minutes.
Make a motion to accept the minutes.
And seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Abstain.
And one abstain, two abstentions. Okay. And next order of business is go into a non-public session.
She's not here.
I don't know where Heather is. She's downstairs and I don't know.
Yeah, I saw the light on.
I talked to her when I came in and she was coming right up, I thought.
I can go.
Read the telephone, mister. Just push your button.
Just stomp on the floor 3 times.
Hi, are you busy? You ready? Okay, thanks. Bye. On our way.
Okay. I'll wait till she gets up. All right, going into non-public session, 91A:3, matters which if discussed in public would likely affect adversely the reputation of any person other than a member of the public body itself, unless such person requests an open meeting. This exemption shall extend to any applications for assistance or tax abatement, a waiver of fee, fine, and other levy if based on inability to pay or poverty of the applicant. Is there a motion, a roll call?
Yes.
Aye.
Yes.
Aye.
Aye. Yes.
Right.
So this is Jay's book.
Motion to seal the minutes of the non-public session premises.
I seal that, I second that. Right, roll call?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Thank you.
So number 9.
All right.
So
Ted,
go
is
with
the
these
door
numbers.
locked downstairs?
Oh, I left these 2 there.
Like. All right.
I can make it.
There's a binder right there for you, that white one. Mine's
I'll
behind
take
me,
a stretch break until next person comes.
because I don't have my stuff.
I was looking through my forms, and I noticed I didn't have the standard form for Island Concert Series, Child and
If you
Family
want all this
Services,
stuff, you have to
Red
ask
Cross,
for it 'cause they're
and the
out.
blind.
Joanne.
Should I?
Put your order in. I didn't bother.
I think
My kids have some of this stuff.
This is the Island
But that's the binder over there.
It's not the form.
I don't know what's it, 'cause I didn't look at mine either.
Oh, that's the, it could be because this is a little bit out
It's easier
of...
to carry.
Well, I don't have it.
You gotta start carrying it.
Tabs, so I waited till I got the tabs, I'm gonna do it. I don't have a gate. John, I don't have a gate.
I'm so lucky.
None of us have
Gail
a gate.
helps me a lot. Yeah.
Must be
Why do you think I'm
nice.
so organized?
Well.
You're talking about like
I
a
am-
weather event.
Yeah, she does a great job. At times I can be organizationally challenged, and she keeps it.
What are we looking for?
Well,
Looking for this form,
For who?
Hartwell.
for Hartwell, for Child and Family Services.
Child and Family
But no
Services
child-
haven't turned
Do I
anything
get-
in yet.
Okay, we're doing that. The Red,
Here's the Hartwell. Here's Hartwell. I have.
What is it under Hartwell?
Island Concert, maybe?
Oh, concerts?
Oh, I don't know, because I don't have the tabs. This is the blue.
Is that Island Concerts, you said? Okay. Ours is all nice and neat from Joe.
Hartwell concert.
Thank you, Joe.
It is.
I was like, I'm texting James, I don't know if I can make 6 o'clock. When I texted her, I said, I didn't know if I could make 6. I did pretty good. Doing 90. I told you that yesterday. At the meeting. I said, you're on 6 tomorrow, right? The cookies distracted you and you had to sign 20 million.
Gonna get,
Text you next time.
contact.
Where's the bad cookies?
Did everybody find it?
Yep. Are they the first ones that are coming tonight?
They're supposed to be first ones.
Because didn't they not show up last year? Did they show up last year?
Well, they never,
Yeah.
usually Chris Nineholz,
Yeah.
who's a resident, they're in Florida, they go back to
Oh,
Florida.
that's right, okay.
Remember?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And in the past, they never had to make an appearance.
Oh, excellent, thank you.
Till Catherine Dawson was on the...
It's number 17 there. Do you have your little tabs? It's
Yes.
number 17 on this
Oh,
one,
thanks.
just in case.
Tell Gil she doesn't have to do that.
So they're not in Florida right now?
No, they are in Florida. Chris Nineholz is their local representative.
Okay.
And I see that we had a Cap Winnie Transit here. So our next person isn't here, so if you would like to come up and
Didn't know how to
talk with
find that
us.
page.
Seems to be over here.
Oh, yeah, this, yeah.
I think there's some new faces from last year. Just pull out the chair and have a seat.
Cap Winnie,
Informal.
number 9.
I'm Jane Alden, and if we want to go around the table.
Christine Dembitsky, how are you?
Juliet Harvey?
John Scanlon, right?
Matthew Hall. Eric Potter. Stanley Brown.
It's nice to meet you all. Thank you for seeing us. What I can do here is I usually make this up.
This is number 9.
Thank you.
Oops.
Let's see, let me check and see.
So they're saying 2,476 for Tilton residents.
Two more.
Small, in case
One
nothing
more.
more.
You got one?
Well, I got one.
Okay, 2 more.
Okay. We need two more. Thank you.
There you go. Okay, I'm Jim Sudak. I'm the director of Winnipesaukee Transit. Okay, and we're here, looking for the funding as we do every year. And I do appreciate everything in the past. It goes a long way, it really does, with what we do. The paper I gave you is just a quick rundown. We added in 16 this year. The first document is WPS, okay, the Winnipesaukee Transit System. And what we've been doing, going from left to right, from Belmont into Tilton. Okay, so in other words, that's the people that we're bringing into the town of Tilton this year. It's down a little bit from last year, it's at 217. From Franklin into Tilton, 52, Guilford, they're actually coming as far as from Guilford. Laconia is at 228, and basically Tilton to Tilton. In other words, people that, from the Main Street area or wherever, like to Walmart and things like that. So that's within the town, and that's 517.
Well,
Just moving around the town.
Where's the 517, okay.
Yeah, that's this year, I'm sorry. It's the 3,
Yeah,
from
okay.
14, 15, and 16. So this year, especially Tilton, the Tilton were way up.
Yes, so.
Yeah, it really jumped. And then the next column across is basically what they're doing, okay? Education, this year is just 1. Employment is the biggest thing, is 601.
One.
General because we can only ask so much, okay, to the public, in other words, then it'll drop under general. We have medical is 17, personal, no recreational this year, and shopping is, the strange part is 89. You know, it's just, it's a lot of the employment is this year is going that route. And then from Tilton to other towns, okay, like the next column over, Tilton to Belmont's 217, Tilton to Franklin is 53. Going back to Guilford, apparently it's someone traveling back and forth. Tilton to Laconia is 228, and again, Tilton to Tilton is 517.
Looks like the same people just going to and then from. Okay.
Yeah. Every
Well,
once
could
in
be
a while,
going to J. Jill to work, since there's, you know...
Run trip.
Oh, yeah, and then back home, yeah.
trippers and stuff
Yeah.
like that. Every once in a while, we'll come up with an anomaly like that one will be lower than the other. It's because it's a one-way trip. You know, they get a ride home or anything like that. And it goes on. And, you know, again, you know, from Tilton to wherever, okay, that's the employment.
Yeah.
So there's even people going out of town, it looks like, for employment. The general, again, medical is 19. Personal use is 110, and then the shopping, again, is 81.
Now, Jim, we just had a meeting with our welfare director on different things, and I think that we ended up being confused about the Winnie Transit. These figures are for the regular bus that comes down Main Street. Is that correct? And
Yes.
stops at bus stops. You can be any age, you can be any sex, you can be any
Yes.
physical abilities.
It doesn't matter.
Then there's a senior transit.
Okay, yep. It's within Community Action Program. We've got like 87 programs, but that's RTS. Pam Jolivet runs
Yeah.
that. And that's the senior center on Betsy, I think it's out of Betsy Round now, they moved. So they can either call them and use their bus, or they can call us and use the WTS bus.
Okay, that's important for us to know. Do you understand that? We're not talking here, the buses that take people to doctor's appointments if someone calls and asks.
Oh, yeah, we do that.
But is that WTA? Is that the Winnipesaukee Transit?
Yes, we do everything. We'll take you shopping. We also deviate, I'm sorry.
Okay, that's what,
Yeah, we deviate off the fixed route 1/4 mile. So if you call us 24 hours in advance, and, you know, you live up near the vet home or wherever, up on School Street, you know, that type of thing, we'll deviate 1/4 mile. We just call in 24 hours in advance, the day before, we put it in the system. The driver gets the paperwork in the morning when they take off, and we'll deviate 1/4 mile, back out, back to the route, take you where you
and
want
that's
to
the
go.
bus that comes to Main Street at the bus stops?
Yep.
Same bus, okay.
Same one.
That's the one that says, we'll say Franklin or Laconia
Yep.
across the front of it.
Yeah,
Please drive away. So
Yeah.
that's this.
that's this.
This is strange.
Now, what you're reading here,
iron.
okay, is our dispatched numbers, okay? Our dispatch numbers those are the deviations that we know about. Okay, we dispatch them, again, taking them to appointment, you know, to employment and things like that, because when they call in, we have the person's name. Okay, where you going to today? All right, I'm going to, we'll say J. Jill. Boom, it goes in as employment. So that's where we're coming up with these numbers. It's the dispatched
Okay, the people that call you,
that call us.
not your, so there are more riders than this?
Right, there's
The only
actually
ones that are on here are the ones that call you?
that call us. Okay, this, in Tilton, I believe it was 2,600 rides. Okay, a total of 26 rides just in the town of Tilton, 26 and change. I think it was 2653. So that's if somebody stands down here at the bus stop, jumps on. That's a ride. So there's two. These are the dispatch, because the person that gets on the bus is just standing there. We have no idea what they're doing, and we can't ask. We're not allowed to ask, you know. So there's, I think it was 2653 this year of just rides in Tilton. So that's stepping on a bus somewhere between Market Basket and the other end of town.
Now, one of the things we were told was that in the past, we've been able to call and have people taken to shelters or taken to the doctors, and that this past year, we haven't been able to get those rides.
Really?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, we're talking about your issue, the problem of getting rides for people to the doctor and to shelters, and Jim isn't aware of that.
Hi,
Yes.
how are you?
Good, you?
I'm good. This is the first year that we've had trouble getting people from the welfare office.
Excuse me.
That we've had trouble getting people from the welfare office for doctor's appointments if we've called, or my biggest issue has been shelters. Had to pay for cabs to shelters, when in the past I've been able to get rides to different shelters. So I guess that's been a big change to me.
I don't understand. We haven't changed anything. How did you used to get rides to the shelters before?
Called
Okay.
and said, I'm calling from the town welfare.
Yeah.
This is what I need, and it's happened. No problems.
Can you, I'm just wondering, are you giving them the person's name and are they a client? Now, I know sometimes you can't.
I don't give them their, I usually give a first name. I think we should.
Yeah.
Because I've never had this, it's never been a problem in the past, but this past year it's been a real problem.
Yeah.
And even like doctor visits for little kids, you know, like pediatric visits, those kinds of things. Those, you know, the normal schedule doesn't work when you have a sick kid to go to the county clinic. So now I'm getting more people coming to see me.
Which is a bad thing.
So, it used to be we could raise some rides, and that hasn't been happening this year.
Okay, and that's what went to Psychiatry.
The only one I got.
Right, well, that's why we should get together. One of the problems is in our system, in the dispatching system, everyone that rides, like here, is a client. We call them a client. So it's Jim Sudak at blank and blank street. So that's where we're gonna go pick him up. If you just call in and go, I have,
I usually say, this is who I am, and I'm calling from the town welfare, and this is what I need to arrange, but we don't provide that service.
Well, if you two could get together, I just wanted to make you aware, because that's been a concern of ours, Jim, so.
yeah, oh, no, that,
How about if I get you some cards and you give me a call?
yeah,
Okay?
yeah,
Sounds
definitely.
good? Do you have any cards?
Yeah, no, that's,
I went down and grabbed some.
All right, thank you, Heather. I'm sorry to digress, but that was an issue that came up earlier, and I thought this was appropriate to at least bring it up now.
yes.
While you were here and
No, we
to
can-
get the people together, so please, okay?
oh, yeah.
And if you don't mind, the reason why we ask that every year and we concern ourselves, because that's a lot of the justification for the town to put the money in, other than just general welfare of the town, but actual numbers of money savings,
Oh, yeah.
you know, not buying tax advantage.
Right.
And it was a monetary justification.
That would be huge.
Yeah,
If you're buying cab fare, it's huge.
or paying mileage, or whatever. So that was, as I say, I'm sorry to digress, but I thought it was really important to bring that in.
Anything
And I also thought it was important that you told us the total rides, because that, I wasn't aware that we really had that many total rides. I mean, I was looking at this to 1,019. I thought that was low, but,
Right.
you know, that's an important figure to bring out.
It's like what we were just talking about, okay, is when they call in like that, that's this, you know, this first sheet.
Yes.
And the other, where the buses just ride around town and they jump on, you know, all we can do is just, it's a ride.
But a lot of
Good.
those could be employment rides, or that
Right.
that
Yeah,
could
they're
be
regular,
why
they
some
know
of
the
these other
schedule.
numbers are lower, yeah.
And basically our funding says anyone can step on that bus and we cannot ask them. That it's pure privacy. If they want to step on, you know, most they can say is, where do you want to get off? I want to get off at, you know, Walmart or somewhere else, but we can't ask. Is it for employment? Is it for shopping? It's a no-no. They're not allowed.
Yep.
Sorry about that, but,
Yeah, no, I mean, we need to get that fixed.
yeah.
Last year, they were, the committee had asked about other ways of coming up with funds, and that's page 2 here, is what we do is we have a company that sells advertising for us, okay? They take a percentage of what they get for doing the advertising, and it's just, they come in, they put the signs on the bus, and that's the end of it. We don't have to spend time doing it, and in turn, they take a percentage. And that's alternative transit advertising, or alternate transit advertising. But in 16, another $3,969 in sign advertising. The reason why sign advertising is such a big deal to us is because it's match. Okay, we gotta do, for the federal funds, we have to match the federal funds. For instance, operating costs, paying the drivers, the fuel and everything, the feds only give us 50%. So the other 50% is considered match. Okay, so this $3,900 can almost, you know, and admin and everything else is 80/20. We come up with 20. Old-time business guy, it's kind of crazy, operating's only 50/50, because that's your highest cost. But anyway, and the other, so this could leverage a lot more money. The $3,900, we use it as match. So in other words, we put the $3,900 up against the money that, you know, our monthly fees or what we spent, you know, for the operating costs, for the admin and stuff like that, for the phones and everything else. So that's why the sign advertising means a lot to us.
Is this 21,000 prior years?
Yeah, that was from, what did she put in here, from 13 to 15. So that was prior years. So now, because, you know, the question was asked, so I'm now breaking it out yearly.
Yeah.
And so...
They lost Grapponi on there?
Yeah.
That's a big one.
Yeah, yeah, and they come and go, and if you see down the bottom where it says Concord Area Transit is scheduled in January to
Yeah.
do 6 months of a wrap, okay, as you get the New Hampshire Healthy Families, that was a wrap, $2,700. So that Concord Hospital's probably gonna be a pretty good, another $2,700 over the course of 6 months.
You might want to, I noticed it was 2012 and 2011, you contacted AutoServe and the Tanger outlets. You might want to check back again with them. That might be something that that ATA should do on a yearly basis.
And stop back in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Particularly Tanger, because Tanger needs at least a year's notice or 6 months' notice to, you know, budget for it. They have to contact out of state in order to get that
I'll
funding.
let them,
So you might want to contact Eric, you know, plan that for a year
The
out.
driving route.
All right, can we, can I, you do have a question?
I wanted to see their driving route.
and then the very last sheet, that's the volunteer driver program, BDP. And that's basically what we've done just, again, in Tilton. Okay, that's the volunteer driver program. It's a free ride. Okay, they call in, we ask for a 3 to 5 days notice, and we go anywhere. We'll actually go down to Boston if we have to, and it's absolutely free. We pay the volunteers, and this is, like I say, this is just the town of Tilton. So we're down from last year by a little bit, but we actually transported, 201 times. The reason for the volunteer driver program is if Winnipesaukee can't do it, it's to meet unmet need. Okay, somebody lives further than a quarter mile off the route, and they gotta get on to Concord Orthopedics. They call up, they become a client for volunteer driver program. They call up, and if they call 3 to 5 days in advance, we put them in the system. A driver logs on, and basically all the volunteer drivers log on. We have a portal, a web portal. They log on, and tomorrow, for instance, or Friday, is everyone that needs a ride. And what they do is, Jane Doe has to go to Concord Orthopedics, for instance. They put their name in, yes, type their name after it, they own the ride. So, and then what we do is the dispatcher gets, our screen starts to flash that if a ride hasn't been taken, so then we go in and start looking at it, and then start calling drivers, hey, can you do it? Can you take that ride for us? So we do our best to fill it. There is a little bit that we just can't find a driver.
Well, there have been problems in Tilton because you were short of drivers, I believe, for a while.
Right.
Has that been fixed? Has that been corrected?
We're still low. We're still low on drivers. But we're having other drivers that they can come in from Laconia. In other words, we'll put a band because we actually pay the driver from their house to the pickup point, to the destination, back. It's an enhancement for them.
Well, I know, if I just might, we have a selectman in the audience who's going to tell you some stories, and I personally, I take someone shopping every month because he's not been able to get a volunteer driver to do it, so,
Really?
So it's been a problem, so Selectman Constantino, would you like to?
One of the very few negatives I can say of community action program is their volunteer driving program. We initially partnered with them because Chat took all of our Tilton residents to appointments, and our volunteers partnered, for those that don't know the history, partnered with the driver program, took their driver education, and then became volunteers for them. The agreement was that we would not have anyone fall through the crack. Well, you take, for instance, a person that's 88 years old and lives alone and needs a ride to a doctor's appointment. And the doctor calls and says, Marion, I need to see you, a week from next week and on Wednesday. And so she'll call and we'll say, you need to call the volunteer driver program because that's what they're doing. And they call the driver, she'll call the volunteer driver program right away because it's in her mind because the doctor just called and she's got her calendar right there. And you cannot call dispatch until it becomes 3 to 5 working days before your appointment. So how is someone 88 years old supposed to remember that it's 3 to 5 working days before their appointment? So we try to help them out and with reminders, and we'll call up and say, Marion, you got to call into volunteer driver program now, which is a lot of work. And we'll say, well, you call into program now, and she will, and they'll say, okay, we'll let you know. And the day before the appointment, they'll call and say they don't have anybody. Now, I have probably in the last 6 months, a dozen or more of those stories, which I have absolutely brought before Juliana ad nauseum. And she and I have gone over and over and over and over these problems. Gail Bestick is the Selectman's Assistant, which is the 286-4521 extension 100, which is on the number, which our residents know to call for chat, and she'll say, volunteer driver program. Well, I understand that you get federal monies for it. Our drivers didn't get a dime when we drove around, but we all knew that Mary Ann was going to get a ride because we all knew by email that Mary Ann had a ride. If we didn't have a ride, we'd put out another email to say, hey, we don't have a ride for Mary Ann. Somewhere, somehow, somebody could find a ride. We have more doctor cancellations, and some people are without medication because they can't get to a doctor's appointment because they've been canceled last minute because they haven't had a drive. And nobody's called us to let us know that we don't have a drive. Now, Winnipesaukee Transit, the senior busing, #1. Community Action Program, #1. Volunteer driver program needs an awful lot of work, and I would love to sit down with you and talk about that, because it is not working for our residents in the town of Tilton. It just, yes, you might have some people that are dispatched and okay, they're probably regular people that you're on schedule for every single week. We've had people come out of an appointment and had an appointment next week to get Coumadin checked and every week, and yet they still can't get their appointment. They're told it's 5 days, it's 6 days, not 5 days, so they're told to call tomorrow, and maybe they forget to call tomorrow, maybe they'll call the next day. It's a big job for seniors to remember that you can't call before 3 to 5 days. They like to know that they have a ride, that they're going to be taken to the doctor's appointment that's extremely important to them, that they know that they can get their medicine and help with whatever they need help with. And then a day before they're called and said, I'm sorry, we can't get a ride, and then they got to cancel the appointment to get back into a doctor. It's sometimes 2, 3, 4 weeks to get back into a doctor. And if this happens again, which it's happened to one resident in the town of Tilton, and now it's 4 months this woman hasn't seen a doctor. I go on and on, but I won't.
And Jim,
you get the picture, Jim.
Jim, I mean, I've been embarrassed because I've been at the senior center and somebody said, we don't know what we're going to do. We can't drive now when it starts getting dark. And I've said, oh, we have this wonderful program. I've run out and gotten brochures, brought back to them, explained. And 2 weeks later, I go and say, yeah, that program works real well. We called to go to Concord Orthopedic, and this is a true story. We called to go to Concord Orthopedic, and they told us they would have someone there. And the night before, they called up and said, gee, we don't have a driver to take you. And he had to cancel his appointment.
See, that should be a minimum of 2 days, 2 to 3 days.
It's not.
No, it's not.
It is not.
And it is a
And I
real
have that
serious
right.
problem.
3 to 5 days, how can you give a 3-day notice if you
If
call
we
on the third
notice-
day?
Yeah, if we notice on the screen it's not being picked, then we automatically start looking for a driver. We don't wait.
Well, it's
until a
happened more
driver's-
than once that
driver
We
signs
don't-
up.
We had an agreement. We said we would send our drivers over to the volunteer driver program and drive for community action program. And now, we essentially, and Jane can attest to this, because she's chairman of the chat committee.
Right.
So you have that program, and they're supposed to be, if there's nobody in community action volunteer driver program that can take them before they call and say, I can't take Mary Ann to this doctor's appointment. They're supposed to be calling us, and nobody does. We find out last minute. I can't tell you how many times, Jim, in the last 3-4 months, ask Juliana how many phone calls I've made to her in the last.
The only, don't take me wrong, please, okay? One of, my department dispatches the VDP. I guess I gotta say it as the director or here on Winnipesaukee Transit's benefit, that there's no funds coming out of Tilton to fund the volunteer program. And I'm not trying to slap you in the face or anything, I just want to let you know, I'm very disturbed about what I'm hearing, because I pride myself on transportation. My department dispatches for the volunteer driver program, and if that's going on, I gotta get it fixed immediately. The reason why we only go 3 to 5 days out is we found a lot in the past. If you go beyond 5 days, especially with seniors, they forget. And the number, and there's so many times that they go in there and we call them a placeholder. They'll call up, they'll book a ride with a volunteer driver, and I can't think of the number of days that all of a sudden we get a call at 8 o'clock in the morning, the driver's all signed up, and they call up and go, well, I found somebody else to give me a ride. Now, we've got to call the volunteer driver and say, sorry, and it's not a good way to keep drivers that are volunteer drivers. But we got to sit down, we got to find out what's going on with that.
When the program started, we went door to door to every business in town. We went to the Hall Memorial, every healthcare facility, downstairs here, putting out the volunteer driver program pamphlets. All the private doctor's offices, we went out and did it to promote volunteer driver program. And we're really, this year we're extremely disappointed. When Terry Page had it, not Terry Page, no, it was Susan Judith.
Susan,
had it prior to Juliana. It ran smoothly. I'm telling you, it's right now. I can't say to a senior, please call this number, they'll take you. I think the Winnipesaukee Transit would be more reliable service than it would be for the driver.
We're going to find out what's going on with that.
Driver training program. Well, if you do, you come in and you call me.
Yes, because it hasn't come across my desk. But no, that's disturbing to me that this is going on. That's crazy.
well, the interesting thing is when you say, well, seniors forget, and yes, some do, but we have one that calls us, a half a month ahead of time to
Right.
say, pick me up at this time, what time are you gonna be there? And if I'm not there, right at the button, she calls, Jane, are you gonna be late? So, I mean, some do it, some don't, but,
Yeah,
thank you, Pat. And John Scanlon, who's another selectman, he's our ex officio on the Budget Committee, he talked earlier about a situation that he's aware of, so you might want to listen to this too. And I'll tell you why I'm having these stories told to you, okay?
There's one person that takes the bus regularly, goes to the Franklin Senior Center, the Trip Center, but also tries to get grocery shopping and that. And she's disabled and elderly, and she's not a mobility disability, just kind of gets confused a little bit. She's been, in the wintertime, inside at our kitchen window, and it's a mobile home, so it's probably the distance of less than here to that wall, maybe about half the distance away from the road. She sees the bus, she goes right over to the door, she's locking her door and walking down the stairs, and the bus drives off. And they said they can't wait for her. Now,
That's Winnie?
that's Winnie, yeah. And Nancy has stepped in to try and arrange to get it straightened out, and that's happened a number of times, and she can't get her grocery shopping because she tries to figure out how to get the pickup on the way back through, but she
Is this
doesn't.
the one that goes out on Winnie and comes back with Nancy all the time?
I'm not
I
sure.
think it's Roger, I
Well,
believe.
No,
I think that's different.
No, that's,
But they,
Okay.
yeah, but it would be but it's somebody in White Rock Circle that does that. So, and so
It's
it's,
supposed to work. They show up at the appointed time, or you,
it's a deviation.
right, it's a
Yeah.
deviation. The person, okay, is supposed to be ready 15 minutes, if they want at 9 o'clock, they should be ready at 8, at quarter of to quarter past. We can be there at any one time, but like you said, she looked out the window. When that bus pulls up, it has to sit there for 5 minutes before they can leave. Then what they're supposed to do is radio in to us and say, we've got Jim Sudak, I'm sitting outside, I've been here for 5, they're not coming out. We get on the phone, call this person and say, the bus is outside. If we don't get an answer at that point, then they say, okay, go on. But they're supposed to sit at the door.
Yeah, it's happened a couple times, and
Is this
been left
morning or afternoon?
morning.
Okay.
So do you know if
So-
they,
You were saying earlier, what efforts were being made to contact Jim about these issues as they're happening?
What happened is she talked to Nancy at the Trip Center, and Nancy tried to straighten out the situation. Happened a couple times, I guess. So.
If anything, have Nancy give me a call and I'll find out what's going on, because that bus is supposed to sit there for 5
Yeah.
minutes
So it's,
if they don't come out, and then they radio in, and we call the house and say, hey, the bus is outside, you know, you still gonna go, or whatever, yeah, and then we get on the radio, they're coming out. But no, it's not just pull up, glance at the door and roll away, no,
yeah.
it don't work.
She was told that she would have to wait outside at the curb.
No, no. Yeah.
so did she get a phone call, do you know?
I don't know. Nancy straightened it out.
Have Nancy call.
It's happened a couple times.
Maybe it rang when she was when she was locking the door.
You know, Jim, I haven't,
Yeah.
didn't want to
Yeah.
attack you, and that's probably how it sounds to you. But I wanted you to be aware of it, because, you know,
Yeah.
we're very careful about how we distribute the money that we have. And traditionally, we have not given you what you've asked for. And I wanted you to be aware of some of the things that go on in the discussions we have before we decide how much we're going to give people. And we do change from time to time. As a matter of fact, last year, we gave money to an organization that we hadn't given money to in the 8 or 9 years.
Yeah.
And as a result of that, we gotten some pretty good feedback for their improvements. So, I mean, it's not that we don't want to give you what you're asking for, but we need to see, and it's not fair to you if we're withholding it because these things are happening and you're not telling you about it. So, that's one of the reasons that you haven't been getting the full amount that you've asked for. So just be aware of that and work towards that
Yeah,
in the
no,
future.
I mean,
I guess, because it's a little disturbing when I see in 2014, 189 trips shopping, and then it goes down to 89. So it's 100 less trips, as well as the doctors have dropped down. That, those are the numbers that personally I look at,
Right,
because
right.
people need to eat, and they need to see their doctors,
we
and
don't know
be
that.
employed, but most employed people have a regular schedule and they can work that. These are, well, trickier ones, and
But we don't know how much of the 2653 we're shopping, and so, I mean, that's something we're not going to have a handle on, but,
but yeah, anything like that, have Nancy, I know, Nancy and I have known each other for years, it's all one company.
yeah.
And it's like, if that's going, I thought there was this other lady that, we go to pick her up, and Nancy, we actually made a deal with Nancy that we bring this lady out, she picks her up and brings her back, for the simple reason that, they got a better handle on it as far as where she's gonna be and everything. So that's what we've done, just because she got stranded once. And that's when I had stepped in and I said, whoa, this has gotta stop immediately. you know, and so now Nancy and I work together. WTS will bring her out to bring her shopping. Nancy goes in, picks her up, and brings her home.
And we have one like that at the senior center that we talked about today. You know, somebody picks her up in the morning, and then somebody else takes her home in the afternoon, so.
I just want to point out that the 15-minute allotment to this discussion is going on the 40-minute.
No, I know.
Mark, so to financing
Okay.
instead of individual.
Any other questions? Any other questions?
No.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
Give me a time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
All right, Chris, sorry. All right, come on up.
Am I out?
Yeah.
And this, what's this one?
This is part
Take care, everybody.
Thank you.
Island series?
Okay.
Sorry, you weren't here and we...
I'm sorry.
This is Chris Lang.
Told it's at 7:30,
All right. If you'd like to go around and introduce us.
Christine Dembitsky?
Juliet Harvey.
I'm John Scanlon.
Jane Alden.
Yes.
Matt Thorne.
Derek Clark.
Stanley Brown.
Good to meet y'all.
And your name is?
Chris Meinhold.
How are you, Mr. Manhold?
I am good.
We can't write on these as Joe's.
I'm here representing the Tilton Island Concerts, and so I'm here to ask, you know, if you have any questions with regard to, most of you, I think, are familiar with the concert series, and what happens is that this, coming up this year will be our 25th year.
Oh, wow.
In a long time, we've been entertaining folks from the communities. You know, last year we had a little over 2,500 people that attended concerts and so forth every Sunday evening, so, or not every Sunday, but a total of 2,500 for the season, which was good. So, any questions?
I think you do a wonderful job.
Thank you. Yeah. Yeah.
Any questions for Chris?
You know, we're, each year we come before both the town of Tilton and the town of Northfield for support in the same amount. And so we don't ever increase it. The Hartwell family does augment the costs of the concerts and so on and so forth. So, and I know Allison's got a few things that are in the works for the 25th year, so.
Yeah, I
So
was
she
just going
wants
to
to-
ask about that.
Yeah, she has a few things that I can't really speak about that because they're kind of gelatinous right now, but she's got a number of things that are in the works, and so it's going to be a fun year, I'm sure. So it'll be a lot of fun.
Thank you.
Historically, how much comparative to Tilton does Northfield?
We asked both towns for $2,000. It has been successful, you know, each year. We did have initially in Northfield, they just, I don't know why, but they said, well, we only wanted to support it for $1,500. So, but then that got changed, and so.
And I ask that because a lot of times the towns around Tilton aren't quite as generous, I don't want to say quite as generous, but have different priorities.
Yeah.
I was
Well,
just curious. as to-
Yeah, and, you know, it's interesting, we have folks that come to the concerts, not just from Tilton and Northfield, but from Franklin, Laconia, Belmont, Sanborn, and so on and so forth, and a lot of folks from out of state that are here vacationing, and they see the posters or see the flyers and so forth, and they come down for a Sunday night, you know, so it's a good thing. It's really an enjoyable time, very enjoyable.
Yes, it is. All right.
Sounds like a lot of customers for our retailers also on a Sunday night.
Oh, yeah.
Our restaurant.
You know, that's why we have to justify this financially, not just whether we like it or not. It's
Right.
relevant.
Yeah, It's good for it.
Just
for that.
as to what is the cost benefit,
Yeah.
what are the return on investment, if you will, for the town.
Correct. Yeah, yeah. And I mean, it's amazing, people will, because there is limited parking, but people will come, park, well, they used to come down and park in the bank parking lot, but I guess can't do that anymore, but they'll go anywhere they have to go.
Creative
over by the
parking.
fire station,
Yeah.
and drag their chairs along with them and come down to enjoy the concert. So that parking has not been an issue. They'll find a place, so. All right.
One of the things,
Yes.
it's great, I go down there, I've helped out volunteering some work and trimming the branches and stuff.
Oh, good.
Literally,
Yeah, there's been a lot of work done this year. Yeah.
And one of the things, I don't know if perhaps the concert series could maybe partner a little more with getting the town of Northfield to start saving money, contribute to saving the island from washing away. That maybe part of your program could be incorporated to say,
good idea.
save the island. And maybe we can get some signs and have them,
Yeah.
and maybe some people might want to donate some money towards the fund. The town of Tilton has been great stewards of this
Yes.
and put away, how much do we have in the bank? We have $30,000 that we've been salting away just to get it done. And this is great. And personally, I think the $2,000 for the amount of smiles, I'm not a big Beatles fan.
It's short money.
There's a lot of music, but you can't drive through there,
No,
which is great.
Yeah.
The traffic
Yeah.
jam from it.
And
So
all
it's
ages,
enjoyable.
all ages.
that's just it,
so.
it appeals to people from, every age group. When we have, seniors and young people dancing out there at the same time on the grass,
Yeah.
that's something,
Yeah.
But it would be great to get some.
Yes, I
of the-
agree.
The venues to promote getting the town to contribute and to save the island. It's going to be, to do it right, it's going to be expensive, and
It is.
I just fear that if we get one of these storms that are big enough with those walls down the way they are, we could lose the whole thing, and
Yeah, especially the point itself,
Yeah.
and the upriver side, upriver end of it is always an issue and has been an issue for a long time.
we want to get some poured footings and engineering, and
That's, the engineering is going to be expensive by itself.
And it's not going to get any cheaper. That's the...
No, I agree.
That's why we started a long time
Well,
ago.
I mean, how can we help? What would you envision as a way
what I would
for us to?
envision is, at the concert, make people aware,
Okay,
an awareness of it, and ask them to, perhaps talk to their town, put a little pressure onto their selectmen, if the Northfield is selectmen. I know the Tilton are
On the
doing
what?
it, and to bring it up as funding, different funding things, make phone calls, maybe some type of promotion thing, save the island from floating away.
right.
And if we can work together, the town of Tilton still, we've got another 30,000 put aside. If we can get Northfield to kick in, maybe, I can't see it coming on next year, but maybe the year after, we could get this island.
yeah.
I know other towns have these concert series and they charity groups sell food
Right.
to benefit. Is that,
They do sell food there.
Yeah, we don't.
So who sells food?
Yeah, we don't. The church, one of the churches usually does that. We don't. so that
okay.
we
You don't
stay
have
right
anything?
out of that.
But
whole
you
thing.
could, if there was a Save the Island committee with t-shirts and food,
Or something.
I don't know how much money that would raise really, but
I
at
don't
least
think
it
they
would be.
make a lot of money on the food,
No,
do they?
they don't make a lot of money.
No,
But they-
probably not.
But folks, a lot of folks do come out there expecting to have their Sunday evening,
Yeah.
dinner
Yeah.
out there, whether it's a hamburger, hot dog, or whatever, but the idea is that they do plan on that. So,
Sometimes you have, like, the Common Man restaurant, they'll sell the food, and bring a food truck or have food for sale and then donate
Yeah.
a portion of that money to,
Maybe if we can partner and, I'm willing to help out, or whatever we can do to.
I'll talk to Allison and see.
Talk to her about Save
Think
the
about-
Island t-shirts or
Yeah.
something like that she, I'm serious.
No, I hear you.
You know, and.
I'll go down there and help sell them. or
I will
whatever.
too.
Yeah, me
Get the
too.
venues
I'll
to announce
wear 'em
it.
and attack people on the bridge, they won't buy.
We might be able to set up a fund or something for
Yeah.
people to donate to, or perhaps even get, the Franklin Savings to help out a little, and
Yeah, they do sponsor a concert, so, but,
Okay, Chris, thank you very
Yeah.
much.
well, you're very welcome.
that's all positive stuff.
Good. Hey,
Thank you.
15 minutes.
thank you for being patient.
All right, well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
All right, I appreciate your support.
Oh, yeah.
Have a great
Thanks for
evening.
keeping
You
it
too.
going.
Thank you.
All right, Gail.
So,
Good to see you again, Gail.
this is a nice chair.
I think I'll take it back to the law.
So to ask him.
I don't know, I think we have some new people since you were here last, so why don't we go on?
Christine Dembitsky, Juliet Harvey.
And I'm John Scanlon.
Jane,
All these before.
Stanley Brown.
and now we're testing you spell her last night.
We're not even gonna go there. So anyway,
I've changed my
name is Gail
name.
Lyman. I've been the director of the Community Action Program now this into my 18th year. And we're not asking for an increase this year because we asked last year. So, no increases this year. But I want to let you know about the things that we do, since there are some new faces. We're a nonprofit agency, so the programs that we run are usually, such as the Fuel Assistance Program, which is a federal program, which is mandated at the federal level. Funds go to the states, and because the states, then funds go to community action agencies to operate the program. So that's kind of how the fuel assistance works. The statewide electrical discount program, that is something that we also operate. The fuel assistance program, I don't know if everybody knows this, but actually every program that I do out of my office, everybody has already paid for 1,000 times over. So for fuel assistance, it is an income-based program, and if they qualify for a benefit, they range anywhere from $150 to $1,125 this year. And let's just say hypothetically they get $600, that's a credit that goes to their fuel company to be used towards deliveries in the wintertime. They have until April 30th to spend it. So what I'd like to tell people is because they think that we're welfare, and if they come in, they're taking it from other people, we are just the absolute opposite. So I tell them that this is actually their money coming back to them, and the more people apply, the more money I get to help more people. So not only do I get to give you your money back, but you're going to heat your neighbor's house. And that's the favorite part of my job, is to give them their money back. The statewide electrical discount program, everybody in the state of New Hampshire that has an electric bill has been paying for it. So if they qualify for it, they're going to continue to pay for it, on their bills, but they'll get a discount on there also. That started about 8 years ago when the electrical companies were supposed to be deregulated like our long-distance phone carriers. We could pick, who we wanted. And so that's how that transpired. We also do security deposit applications. People who have eviction notices, we can help with back rent. 17 years ago, I started a pantry there because I noticed that we were open Monday through Friday, 8:30 to 4:30. The other pantries were only open certain times during the week, and we could alleviate food crisis on a daily basis all day long. So that's been going strong. And then 17 years ago, I also found another barrier within the 8 towns that we serve, is there was no free clothing site. So I've been doing that now, birth to teens to young adults, ever since. It's a reciprocal program. You take what you need, bring us back what you don't need, and it's been going strong ever since. The latest barrier that I noticed, and actually it's been on my mind for quite a few years, and that's with, especially the elderly with their pets. So for a lot of them, that is their only love of their life, who understands them and is always there. So I did a survey last spring, and unfortunately, it did show the results that I pretty much knew. 30% of the people that we surveyed who were over 60 will go without medications, and they'll feed their pet first. So I got a grant through the Franklin Savings Bank for $2,500 to be able to have cat and dog food available at the pantry for people who need it, so they don't have to go through those awful situations. That's wonderful. So I'm always looking to whatever barriers are out there to alleviate. We do home visits. I'll do somebody's application at McDonald's. I've done that before. I don't want to have any barrier to a person to apply for whatever needs them to survive in life. And Pat, your food person that you were talking to me about, I didn't bring any brochures. I made some brochures for my office because there's a list of all the pantries. 18 years ago, I made a rule that in our area, people can access all the pantries on our list every single month. So you do me today, come back 30 days, do me again. Tomorrow, go to this one, 30 days, do that one. We actually have delivered food to people who are homebound, Pat, so shoot me an email, and I can always get that done. Don't want any barriers like that to happen. One of my dreams that I wanted to do a long time ago, and I just haven't had enough of me to do it, but is to have a mobile food pantry. My God, how good would that be? Go to places, you know? You got these people who are out in Danbury, Samerton, or whoever, that just physically can't get in or whatever.
Or carry the things, Gail. I mean, I used to pick up for one in Belmont.
I know.
And it was all I could do to carry it in. They're so heavy.
Yes, yes. No, she's talking about food pantry food. The food pantry food is also something they've all paid for. Pantries that I have listed on my brochure receive the USDA TFAP foods, government food, so that they've already paid for it 1,000 times over. Plus donations I get from cash and cans and things like that. So yeah, we need people to access the pantries, because the more food that we go through, the more food we get to help our people. So that's always the premise of how we work. But yeah, if you find a barrier, please just let me know.
What's the guidelines on the food commodities? I mean, I know it's, you just told me it's 60.
The elderly commodity foods is different. We don't run that program, so I don't have the guidelines off the top of my head, but you do have to be 60 to receive them. And that is something that they actually come to our office once a month, and they can go home with 2 boxes of food. And in there's anything from cereals, juices, canned meats, pastas, the whole gamut, enough to get them through for 2 months to supplement.
What about formula, baby formula?
Good question.
Because it's just not enough.
And
is
you
what
know
I
what,
heard.
and this is
So
the hard
expensive.
part. Everything we do is a supplemental program.
Yeah.
But my God, some people rely on fuel assistance to last them the entire winter because they just don't have the money, and it goes down to that too. That's a WIC program that we don't run, but they have a space in our office. I like to have food pantry at the food pantry, formula at the food pantries, but it's difficult because of many bureaucratic things that we're not really supposed to carry it, but I'll put it out on my free table. If they have an issue and they have a formula issue, they can call WIC and find out, is there another place I can go pick it up? Is there any supplemental? Or they can ask me or any food pantries if they have formula available. But yeah, I've noticed that in the past year.
What about baby food?
Baby food itself, I sometimes get donations of that, and I just put it out on the table for anybody to take, or I'll put it in the WIC office for when they come on Thursdays.
It's just not as expensive as formula.
Yeah.
No, I know that. I know.
Oh, my
Yeah.
God.
Yeah,
That one, it smells so bad. And the ingredients are 85,000 things. Yeah, so, to me,
Yes.
there needn't be any barriers to people to succeed, you know, so just, you can always call my office, talk to me, email me, whatever.
Thank you. Any questions?
Yeah, how do you do it?
Keep going.
You amaze me.
What hairs I pulled out this
You
morning
amaze me.
yesterday.
You simply amaze me, and it's just so much appreciated.
He really is.
17 years my
Yeah.
hair was down here, and I'm like, you know what, grow up. But anyway, I
You
don't
do a
know.
wonderful job. You,
Yeah.
just unbelievable.
You've touched a lot of people in
I like people.
the towns.
And I see there's too many things for people to not be able to succeed in life, and it drives me crazy. I don't know.
Simple barriers that just stop everything.
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
Even the amount of paperwork that we need for fuel assistance is getting worse and worse because of fraud. So the federal level is like, oh, well, they need this and this and this. But what about paper phobia? You know, some people don't understand the paperwork that we need. We see it's nothing to us, but that's a barrier to me. That's hard.
The scammers know how to fill out the paperwork.
Yeah,
Now, that's a different story, you see.
Do tell.
Yes.
Do tell.
I'm getting better at it.
Yeah,
It's called
you're getting
PI work.
really-
And it's all who you know, too.
Yeah.
You know, there are certain clientele that I can ask certain questions and find out stuff I need to know. Without them knowing what I'm
I don't know that much about how Gail does it. I know that Heather is a pro at it.
Oh, yeah, we work
She worked for the
together.
There's a secret
FBI.
society.
You know, and
Work
that's,
together.
Oh, okay, that's it.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness, that's
You
worse.
can't stop them.
yeah, well, with the same goal.
Secret society of,
But that's what drives me
People who help,
crazy.
yeah.
That bad apple ruins the whole entire barrel for all the other people who
Because
want it.
people only
Yeah.
see the bad apple, they don't see the
Of
others that really
course.
need it.
Of course.
thank you.
Yeah, hey,
Thanks.
Years
anything
ago,
you
you
guys
should think
need.
about the woman in the Cadillac that would go to the, brand new Cadillac that would go into.
And we saw that, didn't we, down at the food pantry in Manchester?
Right, but they don't see the other people that need it
But
every
you
day or
can't,
go to.
how,
Right.
you can't judge her.
I know I
How do you
can't
know
judge her.
that wasn't a gift from a family member? Duh. The Gucci bag. That doesn't mean that they're rich. God, they're poor now if they bought the damn thing. But, what if their sister had it, or, and see, that's all
It's the only thing they
judgmental.
have in life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is free.
Judge.
Yeah.
Because you don't know, you might be one paycheck away from that person.
Oh, I am.
Me too. I still qualify for people assistance. So anyway.
Well, thanks.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for everything you do, Gail.
I just have a quick question.
Yes,
On this revenue, this is town share,
yep.
2016 budget, 80,000, 2017 budget is 50,000.
Yes, because we asked for increases from the towns last year, and we were supposed to get more federal funding to help keep the offices open. So what we asked for the towns that we serve is to just help to pay to keep the office open to run the programs.
Do all these other towns listed contribute?
Yes, all 8 of my towns contribute. Did they give you a list of all the towns this year?
I see the list, it doesn't say how much they contribute.
It does not say, okay. That is something I can get for you, absolutely, the other towns asked for it.
But it isn't that.
Well, it's supposed to be, you know, for the amount of residents that you serve should be that type of logic, but some towns aren't that way.
Either way, you got that, just out of curiosity.
Yes, I can get that for you. On the town shares, yeah.
I know you said you don't do the commodities, but we have somebody that needs them. Is all you have to do is sign up, come and sign up? You have to come to your office to sign up?
Or any site. So they need to show their millions that they make from Social Security and sign a paper. After that, anybody can pick up for them.
Okay.
Just that initial-
No, because you have to have a note from them saying you can pick it up for them.
Oh, is that what they're asking now?
Yeah.
One more.
Yes.
Is that
On
the
this-
exact same?
On this page here, this,
Oh, yes,
summer
services.
services.
Yep.
So our $24,000 that we gave last year purchased us $253,000 in services, in a sense.
That's what we got back in return,
No, I didn't,
just for Tilton.
Where is that?
put it on the bank.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, I'm just, in my head, my brain's not really functioning very well today, so
The
I'm
other
sorry.
thing is, if a renter has heat included in the rent and they're not subsidized, they can qualify for fuel assistance, get part of their heat portion of their rent paid. It's not a whole lot, like as if you had something from a fuel company, but that is a possibility. Absolutely. And we make home visits to everybody, not just the elderly. Anybody who can't get in.
Thank you very much.
Alrighty, have a great night.
Okay, thank you.
All right, under other business, John, do you have anything to?
No, nothing that I can, well, a couple updates. Our Public Works Director has officially started working. And he's doing a great job. The guys are doing it. The mechanic's been doing a great job. He's been putting things back together, getting them going, reviving some of the Crown Vics.
Yeah, I saw today had it set up.
So that they are not going and, he's putting them on the road so they can be used for details as opposed to trying to get a new car or
That's
something.
neat. That's
He's really good, he's fast, and he loves it. So we've got a really great crew. It's been a very tough year for those guys down there. The sidewalk is supposed to be done, the OT, they're scheduling it. It's like the end of the year, everybody's running through it. They promised the sidewalk would be done, right, before the paving plan closes, right there. The sidewalk out front.
Sidewalk out front.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep. So
Next
that's,
couple of weeks.
What about
it's,
the three roads?
Next, the two,
The three roads that were...
3 roads, the first 2 weeks of November.
It seemed, and I was thinking about this the other day, do we know what we're gonna have to spend to pave roads next year? Versus just saying, here's $60,000, go find the roads that you can pave.
we sort of, we know what roads need to be done.
Yep.
We know the cost of the pavement, and we've got that. But until you put out the bid, we're not gonna know.
Well, it just seemed like we put it out to bid in the height of the construction season this year, and I wonder if we could have gotten a lower price if we had done it more in the winter time before the budget season.
We did that one
Interesting
winter.
thought.
We couldn't get the job done, and it was put off until the spring. And it was absolutely no different than the money that we would have saved to do that. There was absolutely no difference in the monies. So, we usually put it out to bid in April, but because of what transpired in the highway department, we put it out later. And was it in the height of construction? Yes, but you have to understand that they were doing it down on their jobs come fall. And the construction companies wanted to pick up an extra 1 or 2. So we have a couple that are picking up.
Well, I'm just concerned because I thought that the company, for instance, that got the contract for the sidewalk out front, part of that was the fact that they were gonna have their equipment here because of the same company that was paving the road, so their equipment is here. Now it's 2 months later and hasn't been paved.
It is the same other thing, though.
R&D paving.
That's correct.
Right, but it just seemed like that part of the bid process, awarding process, was because their equipment was already gonna be here.
One of the problems with the sidewalk, coming on that in front of, out here, was the state. The state held us up on the tip downs because when they pave downtown, they have to come in and make it ADA accessible. That's why our parking changed, that's why our crosswalks are changing. They came in with the tip downs with there. You notice out front here, in front of our town hall, it's actually, the tip down that the state put in is 6 inches higher and lower than our actual sidewalk. That held us up because things were not done and done correctly. So we have to, when R&D comes, they have to actually lower the sidewalk a bit to meet the standard of the state with their tip down.
What about over the railroad tracks? There's like a...
The railroad, that's unfinished, and they're going to finish that
Okay,
next week.
I wouldn't even say that because it's the same thing.
Because the trackless will never fit over the sidewalk with that, the way it is right now.
Well,
Yeah, if you saw that.
I mean, someone could just be walking along at night and,
I spoke with Brian Lombard from the railroad tracks in the project, the project manager Josh, today, and they will be up there tomorrow morning to look at that.
I'm just concerned because I want to make sure we get the most bang for our buck, but, you know, here we are, late October, and we have 3 roads that are supposed to be paved and they haven't been done.
R&D are going to do those the first 2 weeks in November. R&D is also going to do the sidewalks. There was enough money with the bid that R&D gave us on the sidewalks that we were actually going to do a little bit extra than what we had initially planned on the sidewalk, instead of just doing the side here with, on School Street and in front of Town Hall. We can go almost as far up as Cumbies to repair that. So this side will be completely down to the railroad track. And so with their bid, we actually had a little bit more to do. And we're going to get that done all at once.
This state really kind of tied things up for us pretty.
No, but the other roads are just, you know, I don't know if that's a result of what's going on, or it just seems like it's getting late in the season, and ground's gonna start freezing pretty soon,
Yeah.
and we're gonna have some bad weather here coming up.
Stop getting excited, Eric.
I love this. I'm excited. But I just, you know, you just see the things and, we're paying attention.
Anything else?
The new police cruiser, arrived Monday, did they pick it up Monday?
Yes.
So they got that, that's the one for the year.
Speaking of police cruisers, why would I see it, other towns that are details?
If we did not have, there's certain details that we just don't have enough people to cover them all. or-
Do you mean down by the school?
All different, they're all over town.
Oh, okay.
There's a lot of gas work
I'm
going on
surprised to
in
see them in.
Cruisers down on Route 3, there's usually one cruiser right now on Winter Street, at least
Well,
minimum.
the ones on Route 3 are ours.
In our town, we fill them first.
Sometimes it's Belmont, sometimes it's
They
Northfield.
go to our town first.
But does that help our police detail fund when
Yes.
when we don't have our cruisers there? Our police officers?
It doesn't do anything for us by not having our guys do it.
You don't have the manpower, you can't do it. Last week alone, just last week, we had 142 and a half hours just of detail work. That's an incredible amount of detail work, and this week they have equal, almost
We'll
equal.
pay 20 hours?
And what does that do to?
What happens is, the money that, from the detail, we put into the fund that's used for buying equipment, such as the police cruisers and that. So we actually profit off of the details, actually. The officers, while they're doing it, they're
They
buying
get
us new
money.
cars.
Okay.
So we're
It's good,
getting that.
then.
Company
That's
pays
good.
a fee of $65 an hour.
Right.
Then the officer gets $40 an hour for a detail shift,
Well, even though,
minimum of 4 hours. So
It's $25.
the $25
Nice.
goes into a revolving fund, which is what we've been paying up to this last, on your budget, to this last cruiser.
So we're still making
Take
money.
monies out of that.
So-
I could have, but
no, that was my question though, so if I see another town's cruiser there, I know that we're still making,
We're maxed out
Well, we're still making money
We've
off of it.
exhausted all the possible detail men that we could possibly, men and women that we could possibly get.
Yeah, but I think what he's asking is, if it's different towns, officers do what he gets for
The town
our towns.
Who pays for
No,
that?
they get this,
The town that sends them gets
Yeah, Belmont would get it.
So Belmont gets the whole
Yeah.
60.
Yeah.
because it's their cruise.
I think that's what we're asking.
So we're not making money on those
If
details?
it's our, if it, we are on the ones where it's our.
No, but if I see another cruiser,
No, we're
another
not.
town, all right.
It's, we're maxed out on what we can supply them, and we had to go.
And then are we seeing effects on our town budget with things that are going on in the school department and the fire? I mean, is our tax rate, our citizens going to be, I know in Northfield is, I forget what it's called, stabilization?
Where that does, the stabilization, that doesn't affect us, it affects Northfield tremendously. It's actually where Jane is on the school,
Yeah.
but she'd be able to tell you more about that.
Really,
Really affect Northfield, but not to us. We're talking about our tax rate tomorrow night.
No, it's just like, you're starting to see a little, because it's budget season, so you're starting to see little things pop up and,
well, there are reasons why it's gonna hit Northfield and not us. We'll talk after the meeting.
yeah, that's what. And then, just because it sounded like I was picking on the police department, they did a wonderful job at the, Tanger outlets the other night, on Sunday night, they did a
Yeah.
mock
Yeah.
drill.
Yes, danger.
I was held hostage for 2.5 hours.
and they let you go.
They did. I know, my son was very disappointed that we didn't get to ride in an armored car vehicle, because we had a bomb outside of our building, our store, and so we had to go out the back door, and we just walked to the triage area, but they did a wonderful job. It was nice to see all the,
You know what he's talking about, don't you?
all
Tell him
the,
what you're talking about.
so the,
I'm gleaning from
Chief,
the story.
Chief Cormier was, they did there was 2 exercises in the state of New Hampshire. It was a coordinated attack at the Mall Rockingham Park and Salem and the Tanger outlets here in Tilton. They tested communications, the police, they set up drills, but they also had people,
Joe Jessamine wore a bomb.
yeah, Chuck Drew was a shooter, and so they set up like 12 different scenarios, 12 stores at the outlets participated. A bunch of kids came down from Plymouth State, and I saw police officers from Keene, Lebanon, Berlin, and then our surrounding area here, and it was just a coordinated attack. They got to test their skills, and hopefully they all had blanks, but they had sound effects going, and they had a helicopter flying overhead. It was really just an eye-opening experience. The fire department was there, and just to see everyone, Lakes Region, Regional Fire.
response.
Just a good time.
Active shooter.
Yeah, it was an active shooter, and a bomb. Joe had a bomb strapped to his chest, but he also dropped the bomb outside my store. I was in the store. They had 3 staff people there, and then we had a guy that was shot in the arm, and then me and my son were customers, and, it was pretty cool. And we got there at 7, we left about 11:15, so we were there for a while. So,
Was it all filmed?
no, it was all,
Oh, geez. that-
No, I mean,
that
it's
would've
like
been
it was-
great.
No.
Yeah,
Use it as training.
yeah, training.
Just
That'd
training.
be great.
I heard of one of the trainings. It was just, how they responded. It was really,
Is this a guy's version of how to shop?
it was like cops and robbers on steroids. But our police department was well represented and did a fantastic job there, so.
Do you want John with the budget, 351% over the line item for equipment purchases?
Yes, thank you.
I don't have mine with me.
The Amnesty Days was well run, it was very busy down there, and those guys were right on it.
Is there a version
I
of the budget
don't-
that we haven't received yet?
Don't have my budget. You don't have this?
Here.
Yes.
See if we can look for this.
I know.
Change it.
Yes, that's how I want to go.
Go back to it.
So what did they buy?
99,660, equipment purchases, $8,000 budget,
Is that in my binder?
27,000 spent this month.
Yours is down there.
Oh, I'm not gonna- look at this. Mine's empty.
Is that what that is?
That would come from,
I have the public hearing where they wanted to see the difference between leasing the vehicle and actually buying it, outright as a loan. And it was actually cheaper to do it that way. So we went to Franklin Savings Bank, and it was probably $2,000 or $3,000 cheaper to do it that way. So if you take a look at
So was it purchased or was it leased?
and then, if you look at page 1, under revenues, you'll see that the miscellaneous income revenue to the town, under the, year-to-date, out of the 39,000, partially what came back into the town for that loan, it came back in that loan. And that's why
So that's why it's important to go to public hearing. Things do happen because of public hearings and what comes up.
right,
Oh, yeah.
really pointed out that we're actually saving money rather than leasing it. And so Tim did some homework and came to us and said, yes,
Yep.
we'd go this way, so. So it was about 3,000 to do that.
Good job on that. I know a lot of towns look at that.
Anything else?
Make a motion to adjourn?
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Did I use up too much of your ink? Okay.